listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean, and Gareth Richards is with us this morning.
Good morning.
My dear, dear friend.
Welcome back, Frank.
Thank you so much. It's been special. And I have to say some things, though. If you want to text the show, you can do so on 81215. That's the number. 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Good morning, guys. Okay, so...
How have you been? We missed you.
Yeah, I've been on I tell you what, I went walking. I went on a walking holiday. The Sussex Downs.
Oh, I love the Downs.
Oh, man, what a patchwork quilt it is.
Mm-hmm.
And also the joy, if I may say so, at it's early in the morning, the joy of spontaneous urination. You know, you just want one, you have one. It's like being an animal. Yeah.
Is that what you do on walking holidays?
Yes.
Are you sure it's called walking holidays?
Yeah, definitely. You just, because... You know, so often we timetable that process. You think, well, I'll have one before I go out and all that. When you get to work, you think, I'll have one first, set me up. You just walk in it, you just think, oh, you know what? I need one now. And you just do it.
When you say you need one now, though, when you go into the bushes, it doesn't just happen.
I look towards the bushes. Okay. Yeah, but often there's nobody about, you see. I miss that. I must say, already I miss it. It took me a bit of a while to reacclimatise.
Yeah, I'd find that hard.
I paid them off.
Did you have a couple of misfires, or were you straight into it?
I'll tell you what, I'd like to start in with a text in this morning, 81215. Do people ever tidy a farm?
Tidy a farm?
Every farm we went past.
They're a mess.
They are. What a mess they are,
They're
farms.
a hot mess.
I mean, abandoned vehicles, machines, you don't even know what the machine is, but rusted.
To be fair, you were outside Lotto Lout's house.
No.
But no, I know what you mean. There's always hay everywhere.
Well, you expect that. I expect a bit of hay. And excrement I can live with on a farm. But there's things like, I'll tell you what, there's abandoned projects.
Yeah.
There's things they were going to do and they thought, he can't be bothered with that. And they even say that on the Sussex Downs, which I actually... But if there's any farmers or anyone with any sort of farm associations, I'd love to know. Does anyone say, I'll tell you what, we'll have a bit of a spring, we'll tidy up the yard today?
Get the cleaners in.
They don't.
I guess if you've got a lot of land... and something goes a bit wrong, you can just start somewhere else.
Well, that's it. It's like having a really big bedroom.
It's like living in Hampton Court or something. I mean, you just think, oh, well, I'll leave that mess. And that's what happened with the wives. Leave that mess in that room.
No, well, often...
Move on to a new one in another room.
Yeah, I once looked at a house that a couple had lived in, and the woman had left the bloke, and he put the house
Legend.
He put the house on the market. And there was like plates on the table with food. I mean, that was it with him. There was a swimming pool, yes. There was a swimming pool. And it was green. He had literally walked out of that house and put it on the market. A farmer bought it, apparently, but it was all right. But really, they must have a day. Let's have a day today. I suppose if you got animals, you can't say we'll have a tidying day today while they don't get fed or...
Yeah.
Well, they're all onto themselves.
Yeah. Also, here's a question. I don't expect our readers to know this, but maybe the producer will know the answer. Daisy. We were walking and we came across an enormous radio mast, which was, where's our mast?
Have we got a mast?
We've got to have a mast, haven't you, if you're a radio?
If you know where our mast is...
Can anyone hear us?
But we got to have a mast.
Is this one of those Capricorn
station.
1 things where this is all a joke? I mean, not actually broadcasting to anyone.
No, that's why no one ever mentions it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
believe we have mast news.
Oh, we found our mast. Your mast, this is from 191.
Yeah.
Your mast is in Crystal Palace Transmitting Station. I know, I used to work there. That's
Wow.
Owen from Edenbridge. He worked at the mast. Just off to the mast today.
Yeah.
So what does he
Wow.
do there? Polish it? What's the job at the mast?
Yeah. 993 has said masters at Crystal Palace bounced from telecom tower.
Bounce from the... I mean, just think about this. This is awesome. Me saying this now is bouncing off the telly. It's like billiards.
Yeah.
Off the telecom tower. It hits the mast at Crystal Palace.
Well, 613 says you don't have your own mast on your own building. It's cabled
Hey,
to
take that back.
it's cabled to regional masts. And then he said, duh, Nick.
Oh, does that mean his line went dead?
I don't know. It might be German.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, he's just going to say something else. Cut off.
It was a misspelling. He meant to say Herr Nick. He said dare Nick. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, well, sorry, I didn't know that. I'm a creator, I'm art and crafts. I'm not the mast side of things. We have people in overalls looking after the mast, I'm guessing.
We had one this morning.
Yeah, we had an engineer in this morning.
Lovely.
I think we should discuss the general election.
The what?
I know. I don't know. There's people home saying, "Oh, I'm sick of the general election," but we'll do it in offbeat fashion.
Yeah, we will.
Well, I saw there was a vote. Whoa. There was. Did you see that Katie Price Instagrammed about the general election? She said, so sick of hearing about the Labour Party, Conservative Party. Everybody knows there ain't no party like an S-Club party.
Excellent.
I think that's quite decent material.
Yeah, I do.
You know
She's
what?
a funny
I'm
woman.
having that. I'm having that.
People were very angry about it.
Were they?
You know, people get very angry about things on the internet.
People get angry about it.
It's all right for people such as Katie Price to joke, but for the average Joe Blogs, saying that
sexist,
making points about that.
Joe with an E, I bet. Sexist.
Shut your gob, Katie. You disgust me. You were my idol, but not anymore.
Abusive and fickle. I mean, from idle to shut your gob is quite that's talk about a swing to the
That's to
the Labour Party.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the swing that's gone away from Katie Price in that person's house. Goodness.
Well, one of the I think one of the main takeouts from the evening was...
I didn't get a takeout.
Well, I'll tell you what it was. It was people thanking the police, as far as our show is concerned.
Can I say there is a tradition on this show? A man told me that he was in a stage show in the West End that was going so badly. And the audience were dying away from him so badly that he suddenly stopped the show and asked for a round of applause from the police just to wake them up, and they all applauded.
Well, my timeline was littered with them. I had John Van Villa saying Corbyn doing the Frank Skinner classic, let's hear it for the police.
Brilliant.
And apparently Teresa May thanked the police.
See, it's cut right across. Oh, it's cut right across. Vince Cable, I bet he doesn't need a mast. Oh, well. Oh, I'll tell you what I have got.
Yeah, go on.
Whatever happened to
those cars with the loudspeakers on the top.
Oh, yeah.
They used to get on polling day. I mean, did anyone have one in their area? I haven't seen one.
No.
Certainly. Well, there wasn't one in this election for us.
They were quite sort of primitive campaigning. It just said, vote Conservative or vote Labour.
Yeah. Citizens of... They never said, I always imagine they said that, but that was in sci-fi films where people had to be evacuated because there were giant ants coming over the hill. But yeah, they would just shout stuff like, vote Labour. It's like someone's giving past and think, oh, that's a good idea.
And you know what? I wasn't going to, but your argument was so persuasive.
To be honest, when I heard that said at the normal volume, it never really affected me. But hearing it slightly amplified and distorted like that, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
And if someone's gone to the lengths of souping up their car to make a political point, they're committed to that point.
Well, do you do that, though? Do you get a car and think, I'm going to put a loudspeaker? Or can you buy a loudspeaker car? If I looked at what car, obviously wouldn't have to say what car because it was so loud you'd have heard it the first time. Could I buy a loudspeaker car? Could I go out now and buy a loudspeaker car?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You were asking about those vehicles with loudspeakers on them.
Yes.
And Alison Batty has said a loudspeaker Vote Labour car drove past a pub in NW6 in London on Thursday.
Ah. Did it say anything?
No, well, I don't know. She's unclear, but...
Yeah, I saw one the other day. Didn't even speak.
But 095 said had a loudspeaker car in Smethwick for the recent mayoral election.
Oh, they do still exist then. They used to be absolutely part and part. I'll tell you what incredible... If someone had said to me 20 years ago... Right, in 2017 there's going to be an election. What do you think will still be popular? The loudspeaker car, which then was in its pomp.
Yeah.
The loudspeaker car or the rosette? I would have said, no, the rosette will be gone. The rosette's already gone out of football. In fact, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of another context where you see a rosette on a human being. You only ever see them on animals and politicians, or or the supporters of politicians. But the rosette,
People ever wear them?
yeah, they still see those.
Yeah.
They're still. I saw Vince Cable in one on the telly just the other night.
Yeah.
Maybe vegetables at a fair. Might put a rosette on a vegetable.
Yeah,
Rosette on a
exactly.
courgette.
Vegetable. Okay, I'll give you that. Animal, vegetable, politician.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But a lot of very wonderful moments in the election.
I like the tone.
It was it was a Regional 1 show. I liked it.
Jeremy Corbyn high-fiving Emily Thornberry.
Yes, did you see that?
I did, yes.
Well, it was
Slow motion.
It wasn't high enough, the 5, it turned out.
Also, he was high-five. She was pointing.
I know.
And he went to high-five her extended finger.
I know what he did,
That
Frank.
could have been terrible. That could have left him with political stigmata. If she got sharp nails.
It was so...
What if he'd broke a finger? What if he'd just slapped it on the end and
Well, I
broke
think
it?
that would have been infinitely preferable to what actually happened, which I don't even want to discuss. It makes me feel so ill.
He got a right in the Thornbury.
I couldn't tell if he actually went all the way to a boob or if he stopped. Because we needed a camera that was side on.
And he went all the way.
It's like when they're trying to work out if a player dived or not. You often, to see if there's actual contact, you need another angle.
There was deep impact
I think
there.
he made contact, but it was like touching a hot plate or something, where he pulled it back so fast that it was like...
We've all done it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have.
Yeah,
it's like, Jeremy, you're supposed to be beating the right wing, not the right breast.
And it was the right breast.
It was the right
I mean,
breast.
that's such a clever... See, that joke's so neat. It's like a little envelope.
Yeah, it was.
It is. It's like a samosa. It's neatly folded up with the contents there, and it all is. I always wonder if the manufacturers of samosas. I think of them as Indian, but maybe it goes right across the Asian subcontinent.
Yeah.
Do they use a ruler?
So, because they're so neat,
They
aren't
are
they?
such a
Is
neat.
it a sort of isosceles triangle, the samosa?
Yeah.
Text in on 8
Oh
12
no,
15.
you've asked. I wouldn't know an answer like that.
Isosceles?
Maybe they get trigonometry involved. Do they have to...
I want
Mathematicians.
Sokotoa.
I wore
Bless you.
one on holiday once while sunbathing. I just wore
samosa?
just a samosa on an elastic band. For the all over town.
I know that. I wore 3 once. Same reason.
Yeah, I think I was in Formosa. That was the weird. I think that's where I got the idea from. Looking back.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
327. You get rosettes on the bride-to-be on hen nights.
Do you really? You see, I try not to look. It's one of my... No, because...
they're never in a suitable place.
If you have any...
They're always on the Thornberries, aren't they?
No,
you don't want to look on the Thornberries, Frank.
No, it'd be good if they become the Thornberries.
Yeah.
Nice pair of Thornberries.
Well, talking of Thornberries, didn't the Miss World contestants have them on the Thornberries, on the Cosy?
Oh, mate. No, they have sashes, don't
Oh,
they?
you're right, Frank. You're so right.
Oh, I wish the political supporters would wear sashes. That would be great. I thought of something else. It could be like a word that comes at the election. So somebody says, oh, God, my Thornbury's had to get a sports bra. Or the fact that UKIP didn't win any seats at all.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could start, because the leader was Paul Nuttall, if you could start saying, I got Nuttall this morning.
What about sweet Nuttall?
Yeah, absolutely Nuttall. I had a lot that was Nuttall there. Because people do go into the language, don't they, names like that. Can you think of an example of something that's gone into the... A malapropism, for example, based on Mrs. Malaprop.
Yeah, I know. We'll think of one, Frank.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'd like to discuss Lord Buckethead.
He's another one. The bucket, I think, was named. Was that named after him? I don't know if I got my chronology right.
Yeah.
So tell
He's
me
a
about
character.
Lord Buckethead.
Well, he stood at...
He's literally a character.
You're a fan of his work, Gareth,
Yeah,
aren't you?
no, I think he's got some excellent policies.
On his manifesto.
Did you know he's actually got a manifesto?
The only thing that let him down, we should say he was standing... There's always the joke candidate.
He's one of these... He's in the tradition of... I think the grand masters of the joke things are the Monster Raving Loony Party.
Yeah.
And every election, I'm always amazed that in the age of political correctness, you can be called the Monster Raving Loony Party.
And also that their look...
And because they're not campaigning for men's mental health, are they?
No, they really are not. They're foolish.
I also like that they found their look in 1974 with the top hat and the slight...
Well, it was Screaming Lord Such, of course, who was at the centre of when they started.
But he looked like someone from Birmingham in 1974, and they've stayed with that.
Well, I saw Screaming Lord Such live.
Name dropper.
And when I saw him, his hit, it wasn't quite a hit, but it was like his famous song was called Hands of the Ripper. And it was a song about Jack the Ripper.
Charming.
And he was I was about 13 when I saw him. And he was carried on stage in a white coffin by 4 topless women. I mean, there was Thornbury's everywhere you look.
Rosettes.
And for a 13-year-old boy, it was really quite a moment. And I remember he did his song, Hands of the Ripper. You know, the people do a song and then they do a little bit of banter after it.
Yeah.
And he said, he finished Hands of the Ripper, and he said, I wish Jack the Ripper was alive today. They were simpler times.
Charmant.
Yeah, exactly.
He saw him as sort of
Can
a
you imagine if a politician said that now? What happened? But we didn't even think it was that. I mean, looking back, it was like perhaps the most outrageous thing I've ever heard said. At the time, I think there was a bunch of teddy boys who gave him a round of applause.
I mean, it's ridiculous as well. He'd be very old.
Exactly. But maybe that's it. I wish he was alive today. He might be a bit nicer.
He'll have mellowed.
Yeah, he'd have mellowed, I would have thought. Oh, my goodness, mate. I think Mr. Buckethead, when it comes...
Lord Buckethead, please.
I think Lord Buckethead is a pale imitation.
Oh, I don't know. There was a really...
No. A pale. A pale.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, Frank.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we were discussing names that have gone into the common vernacular.
Yes, Thornbury's.
Now that we've decided Thornbury's and
the fact that we've got not all else to put into that.
MK Knight has
that
suggested
bucket.
It's all gone a bit Pete Tong.
Oh, well, that is a classic example.
It's the classic, isn't it?
Absolute classic example.
There's none better.
I mean, it is slightly different, if I'm going to be picky.
Okay.
It's actually rhyming slang in a way that Thornbury's and not all isn't.
Oh, yeah, okay, well done. The old Ron pickup on that one.
Yes. But
Now, Frank, also, we were discussing off air, we got into a conversation about top hats, rather surreally.
yeah. Well, you led it very
Well,
much.
I know, but I'm quite obsessed by the fact that top hats had a resurgence in the 70s.
Which was that when the Monster Raving Loony? I think
Yeah.
of them as late 60s, but certainly Lord Such favoured a top hat.
Everyone had bad teeth. It was that
Yeah.
point in time, basically.
Yes.
And Noddy Holder wore top hats.
In the 70s, Mark Bolan had a top hat.
Why the obsession?
I think Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Slash bringing it.
Oh, you better hurry up then.
Yeah. See, if we're on a country walk, I'd have one in my top hat. See how I brought the themes together. No, I don't know now that one. Occasionally, I think quite recently, I saw an ordinarily dressed bloke in a bowler hat.
Yeah.
He just had like a normal suit on and stuff and a bowler hat, no tie. And he'd obviously thought to himself, I'm going to be, self-styled, colourful character.
Yeah.
But you've got to go to wear a top hat. Is there anyone who unironically wears a top hat now? Because you see them at Ascot and weddings.
Well, yes, you see them jauntily at an angle.
But is there anyone who's just going out the house and grabs a top hat off the hat stand and puts a top hat on?
I was in Camden Town yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And there was, I would say,
You might love to know Fielding.
13-year-old boy, and he was wearing a top hat, and then on the top hat were flying glasses.
If I was in Camden Town and I saw a 13-year-old boy in a top hat, I would assume he was part of a pickpocketing gang.
Artful Dodger loved a top hat.
Oh, man, he lived for a top hat.
Yeah, there was it was the sort of glam rock, there was a romanticism, I think, attached to them, whereas less so now. I mean, you get the old pussycat doll wearing them with a tutu.
See, if I was a Tory candidate, I would wear a top hat. I just, sometimes you just got to embrace the stereotype.
If the hat fits.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, back to I'll tell you what was an interesting thing that happened in the space of 7 days. Peter Sallis died.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And Nick Clegg lost his seat. Double Clegg disaster.
Yeah.
What about that? What's the chances of that?
Well, Frank...
Probably the two most famous Cleggs.
Yeah.
Would you say, in British popular culture?
Clegg?
In the same week. Yeah, he was Clegg, wasn't he?
I see, yes. Oh, yes.
Weird, supernatural, phone Arthur C. Clarke type of a coincidence.
Frank.
You're all looking a bit distressed.
No, it's the Omens.
I'll tell you what, I'm just
Does anyone called Clegg listening now? They're thinking, oh no.
I'm reluctant to do with this morning style insensitive gear change.
Okay.
But someone has asked, someone said, I enjoyed Frank's Ali documentary. Has he had work done?
No. Do you want work done? Well, I had a bit of stuff done in the kitchen recently, but we'd been... I haven't had any... no Botox, no work done.
People keep thinking you've had work done. Isn't that lovely,
That's
though,
because
Frank?
well, they can, and what they don't want to accept is that you look a bit younger if you don't drink, smoke or do drugs. And that is not the reason they want to hear. I think it'll all happen in one... So I'll wake up one morning and I'll look old. I think it all happens in one big go. Oh. You know when you wake up one morning you think, oh, that's the creases from the bedclothes on my face. And then 2 hours later you're thinking, those creases are holding on.
It's just when people say you look tired and you go, no, this is pretty much me now.
By the way, isn't bedclothes a fabulous thing? The idea of getting a bed and then dressing it in clothes for you.
And then wrapping yourself up in its clothes.
Yeah, I'm going to get an enormous shirt for my bed. I need to go to the same shop for my mattress that SpongeBob SquarePants goes to. I know there'll be stuff that fits.
Very large square pants for your mattress.
Or Maradona must go to the same shop. Anyone who's square... not that it's
Scott
not
Parker,
square.
he's quite square.
It's a rectangle, I suppose, isn't it? A mattress.
Yeah.
You don't normally get a square mattress. That'd be a decision to make, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Every night you think, ooh, which way? What about a circular mattress?
Waterbeds are often that way.
Circular mattress.
Well, I've been on a few waterbeds in my time.
I don't think I've ever.
I?
Have you really?
Yeah.
I've never been on. If you had a circular
I've led a colourful life, Frank.
Say if you were in a sort of a at a frivolous party,
Yeah.
and you had a circular bed, you could have it like one of those lazy Susans.
Yeah.
And spin it round to the next. I think we better move on.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you who I always get rather obsessed by on election night, because it's their big Martine McCutcheon moment, is the returning officer.
Oh, yeah, they love it.
Oh, they love it. I mean, they are quite frightening characters, I think. I wouldn't want to live next door to one.
I felt sorry for the woman at Newcastle because they had a mad race to be the first result. And then it was the sound system was all over the place. Oh,
and Dimblebubble lost it.
Yeah, so I can't hear what's going. Oh yeah, he's all right in his BBC studio. You know, it's like a Boy Scout hall in Newcastle. What do they expect the sound system to be like?
I know.
What about they kept showing the clip of the girl running with a box?
Yeah.
Where there are people dressed in sports kit and then they're running with the box as fast as they can.
That's the election equivalent of the jumping up and down with the A-level results, isn't it? Young girl with a box. I know.
But old Tim was so unsympathetic. Oh, why aren't the first results in London where they have proper sound systems?
Oh.
But what I love about Dimblebubble is he's becoming a bit of a grumpy old man. He doesn't care. So he's just a bit, he's snappy, which I quite like.
I've worked nights in the past, right? I mean,
It sound like you're a miner.
Well, when I had proper jobs.
Oh, right, okay.
And a lot of people work nights. They go on about being up all night, one night in 5 years, as if it's like climbing Everest. Yes, we've been here all night. So what? So get on with your job. I don't have to know. Don't tell me about your hours. Tell me about the election. They honestly are so heroic. I've done one night shift in 5 years. Good, as Emily would say. Go on, say.
Good for you.
Exactly.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Gareth Richards.
Good morning.
You can text our show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
So I felt like, I don't know about you, but I felt like the turning point of the election was when they asked Teresa May what the naughtiest thing she ever did was.
Yeah.
It was, she has come out and said that she was a goody two-shoes as a child.
Yeah. It's all right for her. She had 2 shoes. That's what Corbyn probably said. Showing off. She had to get that in how many shoes she had. Typical.
I bet they were leopard print. She likes a leopard print.
She likes very ornate and colourful shoes.
It's a bit sort of entry-level saucy, if I'm honest. It's a bit, chocolate body paint on the way home. And get those leopard print heels out as well.
Oh, yeah.
I find it a bit Route 1, if I'm honest.
Baby doll nighty.
Well, she said she was a bookish child.
Yeah.
Rectangular.
Yeah. She should go to my mattresses clothes shop.
Did she have one of those square belts then? Like SpongeBob?
And she floundered. They're supposed to be prepared for any question, and she really struggled to say. I don't know if it was that she was flicking through in her mind all the truly terrible things.
What if she'd come up? Remember when they did it on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? And they were all saying things like, well, I put salt in my mum's tea.
Yeah.
And Sean Ryder said, I set the school on fire. Oh, arson, I think, has trumped all the other naughty things. So Teresa,
but she said, and
I think it should have been. I called a snap election.
And that's the naughtiest.
Imagine if she'd have gone for that.
I know all sorts of people listen to this show, vote for all sorts of parties, and I respect your choice.
People
but
have spoken.
Surely, even if you're a Conservative, if you're a student of comedy, something about calling an election and then it going wrong, you have to see that.
Come on, guys, you've got to see the funny side.
Yeah. By the way, I confused a lot of. I saw people looking at me a bit strange every time I met. I realised I'd started in an old bloke sort of way, calling it a flash election. Called a flash election. I'd forgotten what it was called.
Snap election.
Well,
Yeah.
they just make these phrases
But
up.
I forgot.
don't they?
So I was
One of
saying,
these new
I was saying
flash
that
elections.
the things with the flash election, and they were looking. I, 2 or 3 people just giving me that sort of. And you know when you're too old to correct because they think it's the beginning of something, you know, bad.
They just think we'll leave it.
Maya, I can remember having someone on this show who didn't know what Brexit was.
Oh,
Who was that? What a fool.
ouchie.
I think that was quite early in the day.
No, it was
quite
not. It
early,
wasn't. It
quite
wasn't.
early in the day.
It really wasn't.
But what she
When it come down to it, you knew not all. Anyway, what her thing was.
She said, oh, goodness me, well, I suppose, oh, gosh, well, I don't know. I suppose I better think. Oh,
Gareth,
dear.
can I say what she said as a rant, which made me almost vomit?
Oh,
Was,
dear.
well, I don't think anybody is ever perfectly behaved, are they? Oh,
No.
I didn't like that.
She said, I have to confess, when me and my friend sort of used to run through the fields of wheat, well, the farmers weren't too pleased about that.
No. Yeah, like they care about tidiness. They probably didn't notice. Never got over there. I've been building that. Is it a water pump or is it a?
I got lots of rusty screws. To
She was
clean up.
like, she was lucky she wasn't severed by an abandoned combine harvester.
Exactly. Once you get rust, she'd die. They couldn't get her to a tetanus injection in time. Oh, God.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
Can I say, I predicted that this election would be a shocker.
Did you?
On Don't Ask Me, Aspirant, the very first episode,
Wow.
when I said, I said everyone's thinking it's a foregone conclusion, but nowadays with Trump and Brexit, and I think my other example was Boaty McBoatface.
Yes.
No one saw that coming.
No.
And it's been a bit of a Boaty McBoatface
Yeah.
election.
And about Boaty McBoatface. And like an about Fass.
Oh, I
That could
see,
be
yeah.
another thing like nothing.
Oh, yeah,
No, I understand that now you explained it.
McVoltfass.
That would
Could
sound
be.
clumsy in its sentence, though.
Yeah, you're right.
But she,
I'm trying.
yeah,
Let's do my best. I don't know why it wasn't me so.
Was there any point when you thought that it might actually, that Labour might win or something? That would be that shocking. It never looked like that, did it?
no.
Because when I saw Jeremy Corbyn like punching the air outside Labour HQ, I thought,
Made a change from the Thornberries.
yeah, exactly. He was
he went
probably
for the air.
reaching for a Thornbury.
Who knows what he's trying
missed
to
it.
do?
I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's punching everything, hands all over the place like an octopus.
I mean, I could,
Can I just say he's not? It was a mistake.
He did well, but I didn't think it was a sort of a punch the air.
Well, it
result.
was because she called it, I suppose, wasn't it?
And it seemed like she was supposed to do better.
Surely,
Miss-
Frank.
Miss-
Well,
Mrs.
I know,
May.
I
Mrs. May.
know that.
Teresa May. She was supposed to do, but improve. But yes, no, it was. Yeah, but also I think we've been starved from positive things. I think it seemed like all hope was.
Oh no, I can
all
understand.
hope was gone.
It just there seemed to be a subtext of yes,
Yeah.
despite me,
Yes.
we did that, and it's like he's joining in a bit. That it's
Yeah.
kind of unbelievable, and I think he should have.
He should be a bit cooler about it.
He should
Well,
retain
yeah,
a bit
of course,
more.
I'm a great,
Yeah, I
I'm a
knew.
great politician.
I knew that would do well.
What are you talking about?
And he's got the kids voting.
Oh,
and
the kids, it's all about the pesky kids.
you can't win anything with kids.
Not true.
As Alan Hansen said, but
Au
then
contraire.
nearly. He was right.
Is it?
In
Yeah,
fact,
he was
they
right
didn't
back then.
win
Not
it.
in this case.
Well, they didn't actually win it.
No.
But yeah, the trouble is the next election, if unless this crumbles, will be 5 years' time. All those kids will be voting Tory.
Yeah, that's
5
true.
years older.
When people get older.
Oh God!
Well, speak for yourself.
So I was nice to see him happy. My one problem really with Jeremy Corbyn is
Yeah.
that I can't. a Marxist who doesn't like missiles is such a missed opportunity, because I thought if he got in, we could have some really great May Day parade. And I love it. God, I love a missile on a truck.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I know.
It's you and your Russian romanticism.
I know.
This is what you like. You
I
want
know,
that
but-
music playing.
It's such a shame, though, that he's got all the other tools and then he
I
doesn't
know.
like the big missiles.
I know it's.
I
not,
mean, I don't mind if they're blanks. Can you get blanks?
You
for
can
missiles?
still embrace. I think he's still quite Cold War chic, though, with the clothes and things.
Yeah, but
but
you've got to frighten the capitalists. That's
Oh,
part
yes.
of it. They're not scared of. Well,
I'll
they're
tell you
scared
what-
of sharing, but
I'll tell you what
the missiles.
I didn't like. And, I mean, it's all right to say. I always vote Labour, and we got, where I am, it was Tulip Sadiq, and she got
I'm
in with a
familiar,
massively bigger thing. Actually, politicians with flowers in their names, 8, 12, 15.
Oh, that's good. I'm in a Labour stronghold, Gareth. No.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
But I
No,
didn't.
I'm not.
I tell you what
Bournemouth is
what is it?
conservative to the core.
I tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like him and Fallon from the Lib Dems, Jeremy and Fallon. Both said that she should resign. Oh, she should definitely resign. It's a bit like, you know, when a footballer does a foul and one of the other footballers mimes holding up a red card
yes,
to the referee,
yeah.
and you think, oh no, they're trying to get him sent off.
Mind your own business.
I
Yeah.
don't think you should be trying to put. I
Don't
don't
rub
want
their
to.
noses in the mess.
Yeah, I don't want a socialist leader who's trying to put people out of work.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I thought there was a very Shakespearean moment before the election.
Oh, lovely.
A bit like Macbeth, where one of the...
Someone's phone. Thanks,
Come
Skinner.
on, get your phones off. I mean, what's going on? Was it me?
I think it was you.
It wasn't me.
All right. It's quite
Funny-
shaggy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
One of the players in the drama to come visited a soothsayer in Portsmouth,
yes.
was it? Bojo,
that?
Boris Johnson.
Bojo visited a
and went to a
soothsayer.
fortune teller
Yeah,
Yes.
he did.
in Plymouth. And
can I say
that well-known fortune-telling area.
that there is a sweet logic to that? Because what they do, they get a lot of political experts on the telly for the election run-up, and then ask them to make predictions. Why not get some people where predictions is their business?
that's right.
And then, you know, I know they might miss out on the political side of things, but it's just
Yeah.
it's like the flip side of politician expert people
Yeah.
doing predictions. So this is he went to a predictor,
Yeah.
which is fair enough.
And he was asking what the prediction was going to be, and there was a man and a lady, wasn't it? It was a chorus, I think it was called.
The man had a
place.
black polo neck and something which I particularly always love, which is bald head with shades resting on the bald head.
Oh, yeah, like Kermit the Frog.
I'm worried that you don't get the full coverage with that, though. He really needs quite a few pairs to like cover the whole area.
I'd love to see
love it when
like
I
those
think the
people that used to
hotness-
on the black market selling watches. A bloke with about 9 pairs of Ray-Bans across a bald head.
But I just worry when the steel frames, the hotness on the pate.
Can I tell you something? I've missed out on baldness. I'll be honest with you.
You're really lucky. You've still got a lovely thatch.
Do-
If
Never
I was
been so well.
bald and I did the thing with the shades on, I'd go out with the shades on the head. But before I went out, I'd get a friend who was an artist to paint 2 really good eyes underneath them, so that when I took the shades off, there was 2 eyes on the top of my head. I just think that'd be a great moment. I think that bald people they don't always use it as much as they could for
Well,
comedy.
I think sometimes there's shame and there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I've lived next door to some bald people and they were very nice people.
I'd like, you know, when you see
I've
a
got
bald,
friends who are bald.
when you see a
Oh,
bald,
no, I don't go that far.
when you see a bald person in a beanie hat, see, I would take that off, say, on the bus, and it just looked like I'd have had a decoration on the top, make it look like a big Thornbury. Anyway,
So Boris,
I'm worried about, by the way, that the psychic people were called a Cora.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now,
I mean, come on.
this has got an element of southern fried chicken
Yes.
to me. It's somebody who thought, well, we're doing predicting, let's get a name so they think
Yeah.
they're getting a bit of television sidekick.
Are they
going on.
jumping on the bandwagon, or maybe they're part of the prestigious Akora family?
The Akora dynasty.
Yeah.
I wonder whether...
it.
I think there might have been an extra C or maybe one less. They've changed the spelling
like
slightly.
Shania Twain.
Yeah.
Yes. It's Kelvin Classics all over again.
They're the Noasis of the clairvoyant world.
Yeah, exactly. So that put me off them.
She had hair that... I'm going to be honest, she looked like she dyed it.
Really.
But it was very blonde and...
But then again, Boris looks like he's dyed it, and I don't think he has.
No.
Very natural, I think.
No, he's a natural.
He's got to have a bit of the Icelandic, sort of Scandinavian in him somewhere.
Yeah. And what happened in the exchange, Gareth?
Well, the man was saying Labour,
This is Shades, as we'll call him.
Yeah.
yes, but Boris wanted
Kermit.
to hear from the Oracle, the
Yes.
lady, but she was clamming up. She was being shifty, and she didn't want to share. But then he pushed her, and she properly went for him. Said, "You're having a laugh. You're taking away my pension and then my rights, and then you come and ask for something for nothing."
I've got to say, that was a brilliant response.
fantastic.
Nailed it.
I mean,
And
fair play
His
to
reaction was
old
very...
Ma Akora.
His reaction was great. He went, "Oh, yes, okay." How funny these working class people are. That was his response.
Well, it was a fabulous moment. Anyway,
Go Akora, I say.
Anyway, there was a general election. I think that sums up what we've been saying.
It's done.
And as a Labour voting Roman Catholic, ending up with a Conservative DUP coalition is not my dream ticket. But you know what? I find in the end things just rattle along the same, don't they?
Yeah.
Good night. Oh, no, sorry, it's not the end. Oh, it's the morning show. Oh.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I tell you what I did this week. I've been rereading the first novel I ever read.
Oh, what's that?
Do you ever reread a book? Because sometimes you
Yes, I
think,
do.
you get to my age and you think, really, I don't have time to reread. I need to acquire new stuff. What? Clock's ticking.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, it was like the first full, because I think the first book I ever read was The House with Four Corners. Oh, the Village with Four Corners? Where
Well, obviously left an
Roger
impression.
Red Hat, Billy Blue Hat.
Don't know
Not
that.
like the first ever book.
No,
Like proper
Village with Four Corners.
proper novel.
Sounds
That
like
was
a
the
terrible
book's
The
early
first
reading.
book I read was The Samosa with Three Corners, set in the Asian subcontinent, and surprisingly enriching.
Yeah. I like the
I
sound
want
of
to
it.
talk about samosas. I really fancy one now.
But do you know what?
I mean, you've
I've got to
dropped
be
enough
honest.
hints. Why are there not samosas in this room?
You should have
I'm
picked
sure-
up. I'm
I used to
not
go-
a huge fan.
I
Frank.
used to drink in a pub run by Indian people when I first started drinking, aged, I'd say 14.
Lovely.
And
Had you read the book by then, or was that before the
no, I hadn't. I didn't read my first novel until I was 21. What about that?
Really?
This is
And are we saying grown-up novel?
this is May stroke DUP's Britain.
That Britain.
Yeah,
Made up.
yeah,
Made up.
I like it.
and I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about
Yes.
the first novel that you read when you were 21.
Yes. But I used to drink in a
And
pub
in a
when I was
pub.
14, and they sold samosas, and they used to call them fanjits. They say, "Do you want a fanjit?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." No, wait, what happened to that name?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm a little bit worried about it, but
Well, it was
maybe
it was
let's find
Indian
out.
people telling me
Oh,
about
it
it.
was. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but it just makes me feel a bit bristly.
Oh, sorry, I'm just telling you what they
Didn't know
called it.
whether- Yeah, I know.
I know.
But good.
Oh,
and
God,
what was
everyone's
the
so anxious
first book?
about everything.
What was the first book?
I hate the modern world.
Was your first book fanlit or?
It was fanjit.
And it.
It was my first book was Saturday night and Sunday morning.
Was that Alan Silliter?
Alan Silliter.
You can wait till the movie.
Well, I think Room at the Top was quite early doors for me.
Which is a very similar northern
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Room at the top. It's all gone a bit Emily Thornberry.
Yeah, I've never heard.
Yeah, she didn't have much room at the top.
Not with Corbyn around.
Maybe she had a fly on her. Do you think she had a fly? That's what I
That
would
would
say.
be
If
it,
there
yeah.
was a-
That
So
was
you had a fly
oh,
on you.
was it John Brain? Room at the top. Or maybe I've got that wrong. John Brain. Anyway, I may have got.
I remember Joe Lampton, I think, was
Yes.
the character. Anyway, this is
go on.
not. It's not.
No.
It's not Richard and Judy's
Well, it
book club.
certainly isn't.
But it reminded me. There was a girl called Anne Sillitoe I was at school with. Who, when I was confirmed, her mom.
I have to take 3 Ancillito a day
Yeah.
for the rash. But yeah.
I don't get that, but I'm moving
No,
on.
it's okay. Sounds like a medicine. I thought it sounded like a medicine. I'm trying my
Ancillito.
best. I just,
No, it's all right. You should have given me the wink.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had my photo took by her mom with the Bishop of Birmingham, I suppose it must have been, which is quite a big
Okay.
moment. And then I never got a copy.
Oh,
So if you're
really?
listening, Anne, still waiting.
Oh, you're going to get loads of copies now, Frank.
Yeah. So notable omissions from your photo album, 8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Only for like if you met a celebrity who didn't have a camera with you, for
Yeah.
example,
Oh, yeah.
or saw something brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not confident about this one. I'm withdrawing it.
Can't withdraw it.
I'm withdrawing
I
it.
think-
I'm
well-
withdrawing it as a texting.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I've started reading. This is the summary.
Yes.
I've started reading because a lot of people start listening about now. I think.
Is that when they get up, the people?
I think they've had their third vomit, and that's when you call. Which is coincidentally, it begins Saturday night and Sunday morning with a young man so drunk that he vomits onto people's heads, basically, sort of onto an old bloke's head and then into a woman's fizzog. And it did make me think, well, why was I reading this novel? And of course, at the time, I read it, I couldn't help thinking, memories like the pages of your mind.
You thought it was your
Is that
autobiography.
the right word? Page, like pages
Corners
of
of your
your,
mind.
the corners of your
I believe so.
village, isn't it? The corners of your village.
I believe it's corners, but what do I know about musicals? Loads.
Memories like the corners of your mind.
I'm
and
not,
then
I
it's
may be
something
incorrect.
like, is it misty watercolour?
Memories
Memories.
of the way we were.
Oh, yes. Well, we all know the next line.
Yeah.
Not even going to do it.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So, it did. It was all about a young working class. It's lovely to be able to say working class. We should be able to tell you that during the run-up to the election, we couldn't say Jeremy Corbyn, we couldn't say
say
Conservative.
anything.
How many weeks was that?
You couldn't mention the month of May.
It's an off.
Everything. I would have to refer to this month we're in.
I don't think you could say working class. I couldn't. I'd been to a party. I couldn't tell anyone. At the word party. It's been. So I think that's why we went on about the election. It's such a just to listen. It was like lancing a boil.
It really was.
Oh. So, I'd recommend it. You notice I've been doing a bit of this. I bought a Hopalong Cassidy watch that I wanted when I was at school.
You're going down memory lane and I like it.
I'm rewinding my whole life. I'm thinking I might lose my virginity again.
Wow.
Is it growing back?
Yeah. Oh, losing my virginity. Do you know I've still got the receipt somewhere?
That's you in the corner.
Yeah, that's me in the corner of the village.
Yeah.
Of your mind.
That's me in the corner of the village.
Corner of the
Did we
village.
decide what the book was called? The Corners of the Village?
What's that, sorry?
The house, the village with three corners, I think.
No,
it was
I
called.
know
you
the
said
name of that village.
You,
Samosa. Samosa on the wold.
Where's Samosa?
Yeah, Yes, I have been doing a bit of that just lately. I'm slightly worried about it. I wonder
Why?
if it's a thing that old people do. They start reliving
What,
that.
obsessing over
The
past?
reason, can I tell you the reason?
Have you gone into past times a lot,
Well,
even though it's closed?
Yes, I'm actually quite nostalgic about past times. The shop has gone.
Do you know what? I really miss past times.
It was such a terrible shop, wasn't it?
Oh, tread on my dreams.
Because even if you were nostalgic for naff old bloody candle. Oh, sorry, I've sworn. I'm terribly
in
sorry.
9 years, that's the
It's
first
the
time.
first time I've ever sworn
And
on
in a
air
very
in
sort of
9 years.
1970s nostalgic sort of
I
way.
think that's what it was. Everyone was swearing in past times on the radio. God
And they were
knows.
all using that word, which was very 70s.
Yes, one thing I'm not going to start revisiting is what people used to do that worked in radio in the 70s. Can we please make that clear? But yeah, it is a bit... The reason I'm rereading Saturday Night and Sunday Mornings, I did Sunday Brunch...
Oh, yeah.
And they were going to bring it up.
That was the sequel to the book, was it?
That was my first novel, because I think it was Sunday morning. Somebody thought that'd be a good thing.
Speaking of Sunday morning.
Yeah, speaking of Sunday morning, it's the first novel you read, isn't it? Yes, it is, Tim. Yes. Anyway.
Do you like reading?
Souffles. Yeah, so as I was leaving, I saw it on the prop table, and I said, what are you going to do with that? And they said, well, we won't, obviously...
Burn it. Any books we get, we burn them.
Yeah, that's what
Did it not come up?
Yeah, he had like a black military uniform on, the bloke who told me.
Did it not come up in the combo?
No,
then?
we never
you
got
were too
round
busy
to it.
with the souffle.
But it was there, so, I asked for it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's fair enough. Who else? They're not going to have someone else on whose first novel was Saturday Night and Sunday Morning.
No.
1,000,000 to 1 shot. So probably more. How many novels have there been?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Gareth Richards.
Hello, good morning.
Frank. Oh, all at once.
You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Still no answers on the how many novels have there been texting.
No, but in fairness, that's a huge question, Frank. Come on.
I think that, yeah, but
Yeah, and they're counting
You gotta
through
stretch-
Amazon
gotta
as
stretch
fast as they
people.
can.
Oh, so what else?
Well,
Go on.
at the same time.
That's fine. It's all gone a bit one show. Gareth.
It's been an interesting week for inventions. People have said, what's the 10
I like
best
that.
inventions of all time?
Oh, yes. No, yes.
The
I saw
tea
this.
bag was high on the list.
Well, I don't think it was.
Or it's not
It
a-
wasn't numerical,
No,
was
not
it? It was
a
just
rated
10.
And the usual ones tend to crop up.
In no particular order. That's what
The
we say.
wheel. They love a bit of
The
wheel.
wheel. I can't really argue with that.
Penicillin. Great PR for penicillin.
No, can I say I'm allergic to penicillin? I find it very offensive that was included in the top 10. It's about time I got a chance to be offended. They wouldn't put the Ku Klux Klan in the top 10.
I don't think anyone's allergic to the Ku Klux Klan, though, are they?
No.
Well,
I think they just find them pretty offensive.
Depends what
Yeah.
the hoods are made of.
Yeah, those. But what I'm saying is, Frank, the usual ones do come up on these best inventions. But I found this list rather strange because, in addition to your internets and your wheels, I'm scrolling through it. The plough.
the plough. I think that's fair enough, isn't it?
Really?
It was a great pub. I was certainly glad they invented
What
it.
use do they do? Make farms look messy?
No, they actually make farms look a little bit neater because they put
do you
those
think
straight
so?
lines in the field.
Yeah, without the plough, there's no furrow.
Yeah. And with no furrow,
Thanks for that, Eric Cantona.
there wouldn't be any seed indentation areas.
Yeah, you need the plough to break
Without
up the
the
ground.
plough,
of
there
the
is no
seeds.
trawler and no seagull.
Any younger people who've never seen a plough, walk around any farm and you'll find one rusted and abandoned in a corner. Yeah, I tell you what I thought was a bit strange on that list of like the best ideas of all time,
Yes.
basically. The light bulb.
Yeah.
Really?
Now, I don't think the light bulb should be in the best ideas because it's become so synonymous with good ideas, the
Oh,
light
I
bulb.
see, yeah.
I mean, sliced bread isn't on it.
Yeah.
That seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
Especially as they're our sponsor.
Well, were these all the best things since?
Oh, these are the best
Maybe
things
it
since
got-
what? The plough
then.
is thin sliced bread.
Yeah.
it must be.
Yeah.
Although, how did they make what came first, the plough or the bread?
That's the
did
one, the big
if they're
question. The
planting
big question.
the seeds for
And
the
also,
wheat.
if there was no wheel, how did
Trampled.
they deliver the loaves?
Or
And
there
how,
would-
the mill, and you need a mill wheel.
There would
The
have been
knife.
some
The
wheelbarrow
knife, of course.
rusting in the farm.
The knife was a good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's endless.
Well, what about the armour made it onto the list? I mean,
Armour?
who compiled this list? Geoffrey Chaucer.
It's a bit. It's
The
a bit.
plough, armour.
It's a bit negative, isn't it? Armour.
I don't. Also, I beg to differ.
Well, it's defensive,
I don't-
isn't it?
Well, it's a bit retro, clanking
the sword-
around.
but not the sword,
No,
but
that's-
armour.
No, swords have to be beaten into ploughshares.
Oh, of course they do.
No
yes,
one uses armour anymore. It's a bit Benedict
Is that-
cumbersome these
Have you not
days.
seen my trousers? I'm wearing armour trousers.
Well, not silvery armour, but people wear body armour, don't they?
Yeah, but
Police
that's got
wear.
a different look. It looks more like Lord Buckethead, matte black.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
true.
he had cricket pads on, though, didn't he? On the bottom half, Lord Buckethead.
Did he?
Yeah, black spray painted.
Wasn't he worried about looking stupid?
No, because he
Get
was
the Lord Buckethead look with black spray painted cricket pads.
Yeah, imagine wearing
What
a
was
cloak,
the,
Frank.
Well, he wouldn't. He might not have black spray. You can buy black cricket pads.
Yeah.
Oh well, he
Yeah, what about...
No, if you played one day cricket, you play with the white ball. You have black pads.
He looked
Yeah.
the
Night
type
cricket?
that would have been sitting there with the aerosol can the night before, though. It just all had a very
Well,
homemade egg
Thought
box
it was
vibe
a very
to it.
good costume.
Yeah.
I just think the light bulb for an ideas thing is too obvious. It's like if they had like grey organs associated with love. No,
Okay.
It's interesting.
I was going to say the heart.
But the fridge was in there, and I think the idea came first, then the light bulb, and then the fridge was made possible by the light bulb. Because they made the fridge, but you couldn't see any of the food in there.
Oh yeah, cool.
I would argue the kettle is a better invention than the tea bag. I mean, we're not dependent on the tea bag. It's all right. I've had better. I've had worse.
But you can make loose. You can use loose tea.
Exactly. I mean, that's a terrible addition.
I also remember them coming out. I remember there was an advert that said "Now tea's in a bag."
Papa's got a brand new bag.
Yeah.
Do you remember armour coming out then?
There used to be one that went, "It's in the bag, it's in the bag, it's in the bag, it's in the bag." Brook Bun tea in tea bags. It was like a big sensation.
I love it when you look at the list of the world's greatest inventions and you remember
You
one
can
of
remember.
them being launched.
I can remember the internet.
Respect.
I think they were around before, but that was when they really hit it. Yeah, the internet, exactly. That's
Yeah.
all right.
And I remember the plough. So
Yeah.
we're all there.
Sewers? Did you have an outside toilet?
That's a
before?
strange
Oh, they had
nickname for
sewers.
him at this late stage
How-
in the game.
How did they invent sewers? Were the houses already there and then they had to dig underneath the houses, or
Yeah.
did they build
Now
the
there'd be a
sewers?
general
What did you
sewer
think of sewers
with
being on
handrail on the side, so you
mean,
could
is sewer-
hang. Sorry.
I think Suez is a strange one as well. I don't want to be
Suez.
down on this list. Someone worked
Yeah.
hard on it. Did they, Buffalo? But Suez is odd, Frank. Don't you think?
Yeah, you're right.
It's like mountains or something.
Well, no, it isn't. Is it? Anyway, we've been talking about this for 25 minutes. You know what they should have invented? The end of break.
The clock?
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about inventions,
You
and
were.
my grandma's favourite joke was that her favourite invention was Venetian blinds, because without those it'd be curtains for all of us.
That's a good joke.
Oh.
Warming to your grandmother.
I like her material.
What's she doing tonight? She's probably in my age bracket.
She's in your demographic, Frank.
I'll tell you what I think was a great invention, the cruet.
Cruet? What is
I
that?
don't quite understand
Is
it
that-
either.
Cruet, is it? Salt
It's
and
like
pepper.
Brexit all over again. I don't know what... Oh,
No, salt and pepper pots.
oh, okay.
I really...
Oh, why didn't you just call it salt and pepper pots?
People call it cruet,
What is
don't
the
they?
duo
Grinder.
called?
The duo is called, yeah. Have you got a cruet?
They both of them, they
So
are
hang
both
on.
called the Cruet.
Wait,
like a crew.
Gareth, I'll handle this.
Okay.
So, is that the name for just any salt and pepper pots? If
Well-
you put them in the individual pots together, they become the cruet.
Yeah.
Really?
Is this, well, because you're putting doubt to it, I've got into fangit territory.
I mean, don't do that. I'm assuming that they would have to be in some sort of carrying sort of case. So, but they can stand
Well,
alone.
they do sometimes come in a...
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. A bit like a Tantalus, but without the lock.
I'm going crate with a handle.
So, we're a cruet crate. Who's going to create a cruet crate? Anyway...
Wow.
Colin Hewitt.
I think they were a great... You know, the matching to the pot and the only difference, sometimes you just have to look to see how many holes there are on top. Who made that decision?
But also...
Pepper will have more than one hole.
Right.
We may have discussed this before on the show, but it just strikes me, why do they have dominance over everything else in that condiment cupboard? Why salt and pepper? Why have they been singled out?
Well, I believe in the old skipping game, isn't it? Salt, mustard, vinegar, pepper. Where salt, suddenly pepper's way down the pecking order.
Well, 30 Days Out of September, that's not my favourite
Way
month.
down the pickled pepper pecking order. Yeah, I mean, it's salt mustard. Who's going to put mustard second? What kind of a stupid league table of condiments is that?
It's the shaking section, isn't it? It's the powders. They're putting the powders together. You know, what do you want, a lemsip shaker for when you feel ill?
No,
and
anyway,
lemon?
what I really don't like is the contemporary idea of the grinder.
You don't like grinder.
If I want to grind salt,
Unsubscribe.
you know what I mean?
No one's forcing you to have the app, Frank.
No, I don't mean that.
That was your choice as an adult male. You made that decision.
I'm happy with the app,
Okay.
but I'm on Cruit. That's the app I use. And if I'm having a party, I'm able to crew it quite quickly. No, I'll tell you what. If anyone's got any good ideas, by the way, I'm about to get a crew. I can't cope with the grinding.
With Grinder. If anyone else is having any problems with Grinder, don't text in.
You know, the reason I didn't move to Siberia is I didn't want to be grinding salt in my own home.
I just can't use Grinder anymore.
I just want a pepper. I'm going to use... Look, they can't take that away from us. I can still say grinder. I can say gay as in gay abandon as well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's have a deal with this. Let's have a coalition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone knows of any good novelty cruets out there, I did have Daleks, but I'm afraid I broke the gun off one of them in a fall.
Oh dear, did you have one of your falls?
I didn't have one, but I'm afraid the Dalek did.
Oh.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'm sad that we haven't had as many Cruet texts as I'd
Well,
like.
now that neither you, Gareth,
that's a broad
Daisy
demographic,
or
let's be
Sarah
honest.
have heard of a cruet. You know, even though I know there's a cruet, now I can feel the dark shadow of doubt falling across.
Well,
There's definitely, it's a cruet, a salt and pepper thing.
526 remembers a Cruet featuring in an episode of Steptoe and Son, I believe.
Well, there you go, that's my spiritual
Albert
home.
Steptoe exchanged Harold's matching Cruet.
Harold? Yes, well, my main problem is, as you know, I love a hard-boiled egg with a bit of salt on it. Now, in the old days, as I've established on this show, I used to fill my navel with salt and dip it in there. But now I live it. Now I share.
I forgot. I'd block that out.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Now I have a partner. It's not as acceptable.
You can use hers.
That'd be great.
I like the idea of them using
Yeah.
each other's.
I've also got a boxer dog who does headstands. Anyway.
For ketchup?
Yeah. And if you're eating an hard-boiled egg, you can't grind onto it, because grinding is
grinding onto a hard-boiled egg. Will the horror never end?
because grinding a salt.
Imagine it every week.
But a salt grinder is a two-hand job. You'd agree. So I don't know where to put the hard-boiled egg.
Is it too early to go to a break?
Well, I'm right, aren't I?
Yeah.
Well,
So, you know, in
I've
the
got
old
some
days,
suggestions.
a hard-boiled egg in one hand,
but let's not go there.
and then I'd put a bit of salt from the salt cellar. Perfect. Now, have to put the hard-boiled egg down. I ended up holding one in a tea towel between my thighs to put salt on it. Is that good? No. I always think
a golf tee.
Sounds like a 1970s party game. I don't like it.
No, I thought about an egg cup, about putting it in an egg cup, with the shell taken off, which I've never seen done.
Yeah.
If consider it's an egg cup, you think it must have happened, but I've never seen that.
I've never seen that as well.
I imagine because of the clamminess of the egg exterior, you get an airlock.
It would be sweaty as all get out.
You wouldn't be able to get it out, I think. It'd lock in.
It would be suctioned in, and I wouldn't like that.
Oh, when it come out.
Oh.
Oh. So, yes, I'm going to get a salt cellar.
Okay.
If nothing else.
I'm sure we can arrange that.
I don't know if, I think they're on the way up. Everyone thinks, it's so sort of cool. I'm a foodie, so I use a salt grinder. Oh, do you?
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
424, too much egg talk.
Too much egg talk.
Too much egg talk. Well, my favourite invention I had was an apple peeler. And it was sort of like, it was a vice.
Did it have a handle at one end and like a blade at the other?
I thought this was a new type of phone.
I think
Sorry.
Is it also known as a knife?
No.
Okay.
It was like a vice, and it had a thing that you stuck the apple onto, and then you wound a handle. It did have a handle.
Oh, I've seen those.
You wound it,
yes.
and it cores the apple. It takes the skin off, and it also cuts it into a spiral.
The sort of thing, Frank, they would do demonstrations in store. A lady
Yes.
having marriage problems
Yeah.
would do a demonstration in
Had to
store.
go back to work
and then
after the kids.
would start crying mid-demonstration.
Is that the one in the Sound of Music? And they
know.
sing,
Remember that.
apple vice.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I'm trying to win back after the anti-egg text.
That's
You
from
should've-
Len.
if
Len
you-
didn't like it.
If he'd
Like it.
listened earlier, he would have got the egg, all the egg material, the chicken material.
Yeah.
Or was it the egg material first and then the chicken material?
Can't work that out. But it was a wonderful invention, but actually when you eat an apple, you only really eat one apple at a time, and really you could do 50 apples with that in 5 minutes. And so I didn't really, it wasn't worth getting it out
Also, the peel.
and clamping it to the sideboard to
Do you have some sort of turnover business?
But why unclamp it? Why not just leave it
Oh, there's a question.
next to the, you could put it next to the meat.
Well, it had sort of a blade coming off it. It had spikes. It was quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Sounds like
really
something,
to
Frank,
keep
you come
around.
across in the S&M community.
I had one of those clamp on pencil sharpness. You know those that they
I used
used to
to.
have at
Well, the
school?
teacher always had those.
Yeah, but they were brilliant.
Yeah.
If I saw, occasionally I'd see an invention like that, which was a sort of industrial thing, and get one for my own home.
Frank, did
I
they
love-
have three holes for the pencil? There wasn't
Yes.
just one. Oh, I
Depending
love
on
that. The thickness.
size. It's a sort of bowling ball feel to it.
Yeah.
And also, I bought one of those, those big blocky sellotape, big heavy metal sellotape things, and with the sharp bit.
Now, can I tell you what I loved about those? It was a sort of communist grey,
Yes,
the
it
base
was,
I
yeah.
found. And not a colour you see often these days.
No,
I loved
it was when office work was associated with dullness and not people in Homer Simpson ties telling
Yeah.
you jokes.
Yeah.
So everyone accepted there was a certain, as you say, a sort of communist dullness to it. Lovely.
776 wants to talk of eggs, unlike Len. He says, I was on the underground yesterday and there was a man eating a hard-boiled egg. Is that acceptable?
It depends where he was putting the discarded shell,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
If he was piecing it back together to create a hollow shell, which he was using in some sort of tableau of the ascent of man, I think that's acceptable. But we're all different. I once, in one of the... Remember those innovations catalogues? I saw a Cruit for sale in there. And they said it had been developed by NASA technology. So it could be used in
Interesting.
space.
So it could be
And I
used in
thought,
space.
good, that's good.
How?
What do I get out of this?
But gravity's very important to the Cruet set, is it not?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So how did it work?
Also, they haven't got
You
a
know
lot
what?
on.
I didn't bite. I thought this is too much. I don't want NASA involved in my
Well, they haven't got much else
seasoning.
to do right now,
The
NASA.
seasoning must be low on their list, surely. I think they've got other stuff to do, haven't they?
No, space travel's very out of
They
vogue
make
now.
badges. Got a big badge manufacturer.
What do they make? Sateen bomber jackets. And that's
Badges,
it.
badges and baseball caps. Yeah, they are. They're just like super dry.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
How about, Frank, I was thinking about it, for eating an egg, you get a plate. You've got a plate.
Yeah.
Egg on the plate. Put some salt on the plate. Dip the egg in the salt.
Yeah, but I've done that. I did it with a little bowl thing, but it's not the same as that holding it and putting the. Oh, anyway, let's not upset the bloke who's anti-egg.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you hear about the Museum of Failure in Sweden?
I did hear about
Yes,
that. It's
I
got
did.
quite a lot of coverage.
I like the sound of it.
It's good. So it's all sorts of inventions and products, things that didn't really work.
I think there's something good about it. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So they've got...
Of course, and if it does fail, of course they're covered.
They've got the green... Do you remember green ketchup? Heinz brought out green ketchup. I remember
I
that.
absolutely don't remember.
So was
that.
it like regular ketchup except that it was
Yeah,
just
it was-
green?
What was it? But what was it? Was it green tomatoes?
I don't...
Oh,
yeah,
presumably.
I guess so. I don't know.
Well, there's
Maybe
other
they had a
green-
lot
there's
of
other-
green...
There's other green things in the vegetable kingdom.
Yeah. No, it was... I
I'd
think
say the vegetable.
Yeah.
they got a surplus of green.
Branch out. The Trump board game was in there.
Yes. Now this was based on his time on The Apprentice, wasn't it?
It was called I'm Back and You're Fired.
Yes.
Where had he gone?
I'm loath to mock the Trump board game because
Why?
me and David Baddiel brought out a thing called Fantasy Manager or something.
You didn't.
Or a board game.
Did you?
And
That
we
sounds
tried to
very
play it.
complicated.
We tried to play it once.
Was it difficult?
And neither of us could work out the rules.
Did you
to
have
it.
any involvement in the game then? Did you come?
Yes, we got some money for it. Our only involvement in the game was the disgrace of not being able to play a game, which we were on the cover of the box. Yeah, but
Oh,
it was
I'd love to play that
terrible
game.
rubbish, and I apologize. Anyone who bought it, I apologise. I think there was a sort of computer
Full
version
refund?
of it.
Full refund?
No, let's not go crazy.
David might be willing to offer the refund if he's listening.
Yeah,
You never know.
I think I remember Dave saying he would give a
Yeah,
full
I remember
refund.
that,
You can
yeah.
get him on Twitter,
Yeah, so contact him.
and he'll send you some. It'll be one of those. What is it? Bitcoin.
I don't know, but my phone's already warming up from the imminent text that's about to arrive.
So I have some sympathy for
Yeah.
that. I'll tell you what I did like the sound of. Which passed me by completely.
Go on.
In the Failure Museum, fat-free Pringles.
Yes, I like the sound of them.
Who knew?
Yes.
Who knew?
So they were considered a failure because I think they had an adverse effect on your digestive system.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Pringles did, don't they?
Well, I don't
Actually,
know.
let's not let them
Yeah, let's not
advertise
say
us.
that.
Unless, of course, they advertise us, in which case they're very nourishing.
He
Yeah.
said no. He said they give you diarrhea,
Oh, really?
and once you pop, you can't stop. Isn't supposed to mean that.
Goodness
I
me.
mean,
I just thought that.
Please.
they should not fat-free. They could have called them Thingles.
Thingles.
Now, you'd buy that, wouldn't you? If they bring out
Also-
Diane Pringles, if you're listening, you're from Pringles, you're going to bring out Diane Pringles, you can have that.
If you're listening and you're from Pringles, can I just say, if you're going to have a fat-free product, though, don't have the big round face of the soldier man on the front.
No.
Because he doesn't...
Have me on the front.
Yes!
Drawn.
You're the
Drawn to-
inspiration.
Yeah, that's what you want. Skeletal.
He's not a thinspiration, that fat soldier.
No, I mean, he gives complete the wrong impression. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he has Thingles.
No.
I think a good failure of branding that they have is Colgate frozen lasagna.
What was the idea
I like
behind
that.
that?
It's like Matey. Do you remember Matey used to have bubble bath and it cleaned the bath as well? You had Colgate lasagna and it cleaned your teeth while it was happening. It's a little bit minty for lasagna. It's all right.
It's like sort of Sif perfume, isn't it? But matey, what I liked is that the hat doubled up as the it was his hat and it was the lid.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, that was clever. The twist they put on
Is
that.
it still going, Matey?
The twist they put on that screw cap.
Can you still get Matey?
Yeah, he's got a girlfriend as well, which
Oh,
can I just say came as something of a surprise.
Yeah, well, he did get Matey. I used to think when I tried Matey as a child, I thought, just think when I'm 50, all bath foam will clean the bath as well, and no one else incorporated it.
Yeah,
I thought it was the future.
I don't remember if he had a jingle, matey.
Don't call me matey. I know it was new Matey's a bundle of fun.
That's the shanty, Frank.
And then it ended with, and he cleans the bath as well.
I think.
Or was that an advert for an au pair?
I don't.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I got to say, before we go from this, and it is time, but when the inventions whenever inventions are mentioned, I can't forget when I saw for the first time the invention that I thought that is the cleverest invention and it will catch on and make millions, and I respect the person who come up with that. I refer, of course, to the umbrella hat. Which I honestly thought the umbrella hat, or as I like to call it, the hands-free. I thought that's it for the handle umbrella. That is it. Problem solved. And it turned out the person who invented it made not all.
It turns out people want to look attractive and nice.
People want to hold their umbrellas in their hand.
Then it wasn't big enough. It wasn't big enough. You'd need a chin strap. If it was the proper size, you'd need a chin strap.
I had one with a chin strap.
Did you?
Yeah.
That must have looked attractive.
It had the Turkish flag on the umbrella and a chin strap, yeah.
Wow.
I thought they were brilliant, especially if you got a hard-boiled egg in one hand and a salt cellar in the other. Anyway, I still can't believe they didn't catch on. Really?
No,
Good job I didn't have money when they'd have come out. I'd have put it all in. That would have been me done. And thank you so much for listening today. It's been a joy as ever. Gareth, it's always lovely to have spent time in your company. I don't have that many friends who bought me for my birthday a 2-volume analysis of the Gospel of St. John.
Oh.
He knows me so well. Anyway, bring on the flowers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.